Hello, my name's Tom, and I'm going to be looking ahead to the Austria Grand Prix in this video. I'm going to have a look at the team that I'm going to pick, and basically, spoiler alert, I'm going to be putting the Mega Driver on this weekend, or yeah, this coming weekend. So I'll be looking obviously at the team which builds around the best Mega Driver build, but I'll have a look at sort of general thoughts about general sort of team selection at the moment because for me personally, the last couple of weeks have not gone very well. I think I've been very much on the wrong side of variance. I'm pretty happy with my decision making overall, but I think just a bit of bad luck. As you can see, I got my current team from Silverstone at the moment on screen. Russell, that one pointer, like I said in my last video about that dream I had where Russell had a one pointer, and unbelievably somehow it actually came true. So if I have any more dreams about who's going to be the best turbo driver, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, anyway, so Russell with the one pointer and Albon, both going out of the race before turn one was like I say, the wrong side of variance. Could have happened to anyone, happened to the two guys that happened to be in my team. And so yeah, it really sucked. And then also Bottas DNFing with a gearbox issue, I believe. So once again, the Alfa Romeo's having some trouble with reliability. Obviously, we didn't see anything of Guan Yu Zhou after that first lap incident, which thank God for the halo because he's okay. Everyone's okay somehow after all that carnage. So yeah, really great news. Everyone's all right. That's the best thing that's come out of this weekend. That everyone's okay, apart from my team. My fantasy team's taken a hit because of all the craziness that's happened. Obviously, Verstappen also was impacted in the race because he had a lot of damage to his floor. So yeah, overall, pretty bad. Alonso was a saving grace for sure. He hit his race streak, which is lovely. 37 points, really, really fantastic. We've been looking at Alonso throughout the season, and he's promised this sort of performance across the weekend and just failed to deliver one way or another, failed in qualifying or just not lived up to the race, had some issues, reliability issues. There's always something that's gone wrong for Alonso, and finally this weekend it's really come together for him. I'm very pleased for him, and I'm very pleased because he's also on my team, and he's almost certainly going to be in my team going into Austria as well. I think the Alpines are looking very competitive at the top end of that midfield. And Alonso's also, as you can see here, got the blue flame, which means he's on a qualifying streak. I think with the team I've got in mind, I think it's just very easy to leave him in the team. So, yeah, let's have a look straight away at the team. First things first is that Russell, after a good performance in Canada for me last week, obviously the 1 pointer come along this week, he's going out the door. Who's coming in? Mr. Max Verstappen. Because I want to do the Mega Driver this weekend. If you haven't already used your Mega Driver, I think Austria this coming weekend is the best opportunity. There's no one on any streaks coming up over the next couple of races, so if you're trying to hold out for someone on a streak to Mega Drive, I think it's just not going to happen. Literally not going to happen before we have to use our Mega Driver chip. I'm not actually 100% sure when the deadline for using the first chip is. I looked in the rules and it just says the first half of the season, which is extremely vague because yeah, the first half of the season is technically, it ends in Austria. We're halfway through the season then. But I actually think it might not be until the Hungary Grand Prix just before the summer break. So if you guys actually know if I've missed it in the rules somewhere and there's some definitive answer as to when the Mega Driver needs to be used, then please let me know. But it's not actually going to affect me personally because, like I say, I'm definitely using the Mega Driver chip in Austria this weekend, and it's going to be Max Verstappen that gets the armband, so to speak. I think the Red Bulls are going to be very strong this coming weekend. They've got phenomenal straight line speed, and I know the Ferraris have sort of closed the gap in a straight line, but the Red Bulls just sort of naturally, I don't know what it is to do with something to do with their aerodynamic package that just allows them to go faster than everyone, it seems, in a straight line. So I think the Austria track itself, they're quite long straights. It's only like 6 corners, I think, in the entire track. So I think the Red Bull will be very suited to Austria. Max Verstappen won there last year. It's his home race. He's going to have, I say his home race, not his home race, but it's Red Bull's home race. And he's going to have a lot of support there. If you remember back to last year, all the orange in the crowd, orange smoke bombs and everything, everyone's going crazy for Max Verstappen. He's going to have a lot of support. What could possibly go wrong, What could possibly go wrong? Hopefully no dreams of 1 pointers. I'm going to channel some dreams of Max Verstappen just like winning the sprint race and winning the actual Grand Prix, but that'd be great for me. But so yeah, and speaking of the sprint race, that is the main reason I've been holding out for Austria because, like I say, I think it'll be suited to Red Bull. It's suited to Max Verstappen. He's likely to beat Perez, even though Perez is performing well. He's still more likely, if we have a quick look at, we scroll across at how often Verstappen's beaten Perez so far. We look at qualifying. This is out of 10 races. 7 out of 10, he's out-qualified Perez. And 60% of the time, he's beating his teammate in the race as well. So I think it's kind of an easy option really to put the Mega Driver on Max Verstappen this weekend. And obviously we need to tweak, or I personally need to tweak my team to try and accommodate that. Because if I just put Verstappen straight in for Russell, as you can see my budget, I'm almost 5 million short. So I need to find 5 million from somewhere. The easiest thing to do for me personally, I think, is just get rid of Red Bull. Ferrari, who performed well in Silverstone, looking stronger recently. Reliability not been such an issue the last couple of races. They're on the race streak as well. Red Bull are not on a race streak. They only have a streak in terms of constructors as Mercedes on a qualifying streak, and I don't think they're going to be especially strong around Austria, even though they looked pretty good around Silverstone. I think they're going to be slightly, I think Silverstone just really well suited the Mercedes car. But regardless, I'm not really interested in Mercedes. It's, for me, pretty much the entire season, it's just between Red Bull and Ferrari. And with Ferrari on the streak and also enabling me to quite easily bring Verstappen into my team, I'm very happy to add Ferrari into my team, and I could literally just go in straight away with a team like this, put the Mega Driver on Verstappen, Turbo Drive Leclerc, hopefully pick up that qualifying streak for Alonso, and then I've got some support drivers and Bottas, who, like I say, reliability issues are kind of certainly something to be concerned about in terms of Alfa Romeo, but so I could just go in with a team like this. However, I'm kind of wanting to get back to the more standard template of Perez, Sainz, Leclerc, Red Bull as my constructor, going past Austria. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's France after Austria. I haven't actually really looked that far ahead, to be honest, because it's not for like a good couple of weeks. Couple of weeks break, I believe. So yeah, but anyway, going into the next race after Austria, I do kind of want to move back towards that early season template with like Red Bull as my constructor, Perez, Sainz, Leclerc, and then 2 support drivers. At the beginning of the season, it was Kevin Magnussen and Bottas. It could be Albon and Bottas, it could be Latifi and Bottas, it could be Stroll and Magnussen. There's a whole host of combinations you can use, and it's just, like I say, getting on the right side of the variance factor, because DNFs, they're fairly unpredictable, especially when there's like a big crash like what happened in Silverstone. They're completely unpredictable. But reliability issues like what Bottas and Guan Yu Zhou have been happening recently does concern me. So it does make me think maybe I don't want Bottas, but the race potential, that race pace in the Alfa Romeo is good, and that's why I'm still tempted to keep someone like Bottas or even Guan Yu Zhou, who's really been performing well recently. He's really done really well in the last few races. So yeah, definitely I can definitely see picking Guan Yu Zhou over Bottas. I say he's done well over the last few races. Obviously, he's had a couple of DNFs. And things that are out of his control, reliability issues, the big crash out of his control in Silverstone. I do think just if we ignore all the DNFs, if you can do that, then I think performance-wise, Guan Yu Zhou has actually been very impressive, and I think he's going slightly under the radar. Let's have a look how much he's owned by, actually. Only 8% compared to Bottas, who's a whopping 50%. And I'm not saying Bottas is suddenly a bad option, but I do think Guan Yu Zhou is worth considering, especially considering he's over $1 million cheaper, 8.4 million at the moment. There is, he's on a little bit of a streak, couple of qualifying streaks there. He's certainly done well in qualifying Bottas recently. Yeah, so I'm impressed with Guan Yu Zhou, and I think he could be an option. I could even just do that straight away and have a team like this, Guan Yu Zhou over Bottas. I'm thinking ahead. Like I said a minute ago, I want to go back to that template after Austria. So if you're not on the Mega Driver, it might be a good idea to already go to this template, which is why I kind of wanted to cover it. So if we were to go back to Red Bull and get rid of Verstappen and sort of go back to this template, where are we? We can keep Alonso. I think Alonso might be quite good as like that if you've got the budget to keep him in. Otherwise, if you haven't got the budget, you could go for someone like Guan Yu Zhou. But I think as long as you've got the budget, see, I'm 0.4 short. So I can't actually go straight back to the template with my current team idea unless I was to drop someone like Albon this week going into Austria to someone like Latifi or one of the Haas boys. The Haas has obviously ended up doing pretty well despite doing poorly in practice, poorly in qualifying, but the race, they gained loads of positions and ended up with a couple of points. So the Haas did quite well in Silverstone, but I do think Latifi is definitely a good shout. You look at the season points now. Albon 74, Nicholas Latifi 79. Latifi is just very quietly just going about his business, just finishing races. And like I said, I think if Albon was able to finish Silverstone, if he didn't crash out on that first, again, completely against not his fault. Vettel just sort of went into the back of him, and I'm not saying that's Vettel's fault. It's just the way that everything that happened, it was just carnage. So yeah, I think if Albon was to finish that race, I think he definitely would have scored at like 10 points or something instead of -9, which is what he ended up with, I think. But so I do still think Albon's a good option. But for me personally, I'm actually leaning kind of more towards Latifi. Williams looking reliable. Latifi's just finishing races. I haven't said that he's probably going to DNF Austria now because that just seems to be the way is going this season. But I think you could end up with sort of a template team looking like this with Alonso now in there instead of one of the Alfa Romeos, because the Alpines have had their own little share of reliability issues. We've seen Ocon, for example, having the reliability issue which drew out the safety car in Silverstone. So, and going forward past Austria, it's kind of debatable who you want between Ocon and Alonso. I think they're both very kind of even this season. Alonso coming into a bit of form, so maybe Alonso's the favourite at the moment. But that's a story for another day. But I think you definitely, between the two of the Alpine drivers, I think Alonso's just an easy pick going into Austria in particular because he's on that qualifying streak. So, yeah, I think a team that looks like this, if you're not on the Mega Driver option, I'd be more than happy to have a team like this. But because I'm on the Mega Driver option, I want Max Verstappen. You could argue I could just have a team like this straight away and put the Mega Driver on Perez or Leclerc or even Carlos Sainz or whatever. But I think if it's a clean weekend, then Max Verstappen has the best chance out of everyone. I think reliability issues aside, random DNFs and everything aside, I genuinely think that Max Verstappen around Austria has the best chance of just winning the sprint and winning the Grand Prix, and therefore I want to put the Mega Driver on him because I think he's going to be the winner, and that's how. Obviously, you know, I'm channeling my inner Will Buxton here. It's like if you win the race, you get the most points, but you know what I mean. So yes, you could argue you want a team like this and just stick with the template and put the Mega Driver on Perez or whatever you want to do. But for me personally, Mega Driver and Verstappen, no real qualms about it. So yeah, anyway, that's what I think about that, and I think I'm just going to go back again to my team idea. So Carlos Sainz will drop out, and then we'll have someone like Bottas or Guan Yu Zhou or Lance Stroll. You know, he's ticking along nicely. But whatever. This is what I'm thinking at the moment. So yeah, that's what I've really got to say about my team. It's very straightforward for me this weekend. It's pretty much that's my team. So let me know what you guys are thinking. If you're going for the Mega Driver, are you also going for Max Verstappen? If you're not going for the Mega Driver, what are you thinking? Are you thinking sticking with the Red Bull despite Ferrari being on the hot streak? Don't know. Are you going back to this sort of template team, if you like, or are you going to go into the mix? You know, there are other options. I'm not just going to ignore it. You know, I think like Lando Norris has been performing really well. He's lost a lot of value recently, 15.7, so he's a little bit cheaper than he has been in recent times, and he's fairly consistently just chugging along. And I think McLaren sort of, well, I say Lando Norris in particular, Ricciardo had a shocker in Silverstone, but that's nothing new this season. Lando Norris is just ticking along nicely. Not quite the value that he had last season because his price is that much higher, but I do think Lando Norris is still fine, and I think the McLaren should go fairly well around Austria. Lando Norris also done well in the recent past. In Austria, he's had a couple of podiums there, I believe, over the last couple of years. So yeah, Lando Norris definitely could be a good shout if you can squeeze him into the team somehow. I don't know how you'd squeeze him in the team. Should we have a quick look, see what I can rustle up on rustle up, but we're not having Russell. Lando Norris could squeeze in there. Then you could probably upgrade someone like Guan Yu Zhou to like Carlos Sainz, and you could end up with a team like this if you didn't fancy like Perez for whatever reason. You could then also upgrade Latifi into someone like Bottas or Stroll or whatever. You can have a team like this. There's lots of ways you can do it if you have a preferred driver like Lando Norris, or if you want to squeeze someone else. I'm not really sure how else you'd want to squeeze in. Like George Russell, no longer on a streak, kind of doesn't interest me as much. I just don't think the team balance is there with Russell when he's not on a streak. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Be really interested to know. Obviously, as I said earlier, it is a sprint race in Austria. Therefore, the Friday practice session goes straight into qualifying. So I won't be doing a final thoughts video on Friday. And I am away for a few days anyway this week anyway, so I'm not going to be able to do any more videos, which is why I'm doing it today on a Monday. Get in nice and early just to sort of, start your week off, get that fix of fantasy if that's what you need. So yeah. I'll be back probably maybe next week if I feel up to it. It also might be quite nice for me to just kind of take a break. Like I say, I've had a couple of rough weeks in terms of fantasy, and it was kind of nice to just get this Mega Driver out of the way, hope it goes well, and then recharge for a week or so, and then come back with thoughts on the next race. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. I hope Silverstone went a lot better than what it did for me. I feel like it couldn't have gone much worse for me, so I'm sure unless you had the same team as me, it would have gone a lot better. I'm actually not sure what I ended up with in the end. What did I... if we go back to the teams, discard that. If we go back to Britain, 107, yeah, real stinker. You can see -8, -9. Russell 1 pointer. Yeah, not good for me last week, but whatever. moving on to Austria, Mega Driver. Let's climb back up the ranks. Hope for the best. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. I'll be back soon enough. Bye bye.